Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Introducing Belimo Gas Monitors, Ensuring Air Quality and Safety. Our presenter today is Brett Kavanaugh. We appreciate you joining us. My name is Audra Robinson and I'll be your moderator. As a friendly reminder, this webinar will be recorded and will be posted to our YouTube page and on our website. At the end of the presentation, we will be having a question and answer session. I invite you to ask your questions through the question box at any time, and I will read them out loud during the question and answer session. We will answer as many questions as we have time for, but rest assured, if we do not have time for your questions, we will answer your question by email. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Brett Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Audra. Okay. So the agenda for today is we'll go over what a gas monitor is and we'll introduce all the gas monitors that Belimo currently offers. We'll discuss their features and benefits. We'll go over the system topology, meaning the different ways that they can be wired. We'll introduce all the accessories, recognize the Belimo part numbers, and at the end, we'll go over a quick recap and answer any questions. Okay, so first, what is a gas monitor? Well, it's a device that protects people and property from harm by monitoring gas concentrations in the air. So one common example that we see a lot are CO smoke detectors that should be in our home, so in every bedroom, hallway, and floor of a home. Belimo gas monitors operate the same way, however, they have more logic to them. So what are the differences? Well, a CO or smoke detector will detect a gas, it'll go into alarm, and people will react. So when you hear your smoke detector going off, you'll open a window, turn off the stove, call 911, or leave the house. On the other hand, a Belimo gas monitor will detect gases, it'll go into alarm, and the device will react itself by activating onboard relays and analog outputs that will turn on fans, open dampers, talk to the BMS, etc. So it itself gets the gas levels back to normal where, your CO smoke detector, a person has to react to it. Okay, so before we go over the different gas monitors that Belimo has to offer, we wanted to mention that it's important to note that Belimo gas monitors are not suited for hazardous applications where explosion-proof enclosures and relays are required. So these products are not explosion-proof. They're meant to be used in residential, light commercial, and light industrial applications. And in addition, when using them, they're meant to detect harmful gases that under normal conditions are not constantly present in high concentrations. So that last sentence, what does it mean? Well, if you're using these gas monitors in a parking garage, typically CO and NO2 gas levels aren't high enough to poison somebody. However, if a car does idle there long enough with the engine on, gas levels could become toxic, at which point the gas monitors are there to sense the increase in gas, alert, and ventilate the space to get levels back to normal. So basically, the more gas that the gas monitor detects on a normal basis, the quicker the sensor modules, which are the physical part detecting the gas, will be used up and need to be replaced. Okay, so what gas monitors does Belimo currently offer? Well, we have two different categories. We have vehicle emissions and indoor air quality / leak detection. So vehicle emissions detect carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide. Both of these gases are byproducts of combustion. So carbon monoxide is mainly produced from burning gasoline, natural gas, propane, kerosene, wood, and charcoal, whereas nitrogen dioxide is mainly produced from burning diesel because of its higher temperature and pressure. Common applications include anywhere where combustion is present. For example, we see these used a lot in enclosed parking garages, which are parking garages where fans are required to bring in outside or fresh air, loading docks, transport bays, municipal facilities, boiler rooms, and more. And the next one is indoor air quality / leak detection. So these detect carbon dioxide, which is what we exhale, and it's also a byproduct of combustion. So high levels of carbon dioxide or CO2 can reduce productivity, cause drowsiness, headaches, dizziness, rapid breathing, and in higher levels suffocation. So we offer three different ranges. all measured in ppm. 0 to 2,000 is considered air quality, so spaces where people live and work. And 0 to 5,000 or 0 to 10,000 are considered leak detection, so places where people aren't typically present but where high levels of CO2 could occur. Some common applications include classrooms, conference rooms, and warehouses for 0 to 2,000 ppm, whereas 0 to 5,000 or 10,000 applications include breweries, so during fermentation, greenhouses, and CO2 refrigeration systems. Okay, so we went over the different gas monitors that Belimo currently offers, but what are their features and benefits, and how are they unique to the competition? So first, all vehicle emissions gas monitors, which includes carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and the combo CO and NO2, are assembly rated and certified to UL 2075 and ULC S588. So that assembly rating means that the entire gas monitor is certified, not just the sensing elements. And an interesting thing to note is that Belimo is the first company to receive UL 2075 and ULC S588 on any NO2 and combo CO NO2 gas monitors. So what does the certification mean? It means that underwriters, laboratories, or UL for short, which is a globally recognized safety organization, performed many tests on these products regarding performance, reliability, and safety, and that they passed all of the tests. And why is it significant? One, because customers know they're getting a product that's safe and reliable. And two, the international, national, and local codes are now requiring UL 2075 and ULC S588 for all CO and NO2 gas monitors, detectors, and sensors. So currently, the International Building Code and the International Fire Code specifies UL 2075 for all CO monitors. And as of 2018, the International Mechanical Code requires UL 2075 for both CO and NO2 gas monitors. All right, so those features were specific to vehicle emissions, but what features and benefits do all Belimo gas monitors have? So one, each monitor can detect and sense up to 2 different gases, and the sensor modules are hot swappable. So that means when sensor modules need to be replaced, just open the cover, pop out the old ones, pop in the new ones, register it, and it's good to go. There's no need to power down the device. Two, they have CAN bus and BACnet MSTP for communication, which allows them to be integrated into a building management system, a BMS, or used as a standalone system through CAN bus. And three, they allow for direct control through onboard relays and analog outputs to control external equipment such as fans, dampers, alarms, etc. Okay, so you may ask, how many relays and analog outputs does it actually have? How many things can it control? So the number depends on the model, and for every gas monitor type, so CO, NO2, and CO2, there are 3 different models, and the model is known by looking at the part number or physically looking at that green PCB board. Okay, so an A model has 1 relay and 2 analog outputs for direct control, 1 binary input, CAN bus and BACnet MSTP for communication. A B model has 2 relays for direct control, a binary input, CAN bus, and BACnet for communication, and a C model just has CAN bus. In addition to these features, they have a NEMA 2 IP44 rated enclosure with a sloped bottom and a slot to drain any water buildup. They have 3 alarm levels that include an internal horn and strobe alarm for alarm level 3. They have a 4-button keypad with over 80 programmable settings to meet your customer's specific sequence of operations. And like all Belimo products, they have a 5-year warranty with the one exception of the sensor modules that have a 1-year warranty. So as a result, we say these features come together to allow for a dependable product with a modular design that seamlessly integrates into your application. So the next question is, why offer 3 different models? Why offer an A, a B, and a C? So let's look at an example. Let's say we have a 1-story enclosed parking garage. Here we need a starter box, an exhaust fan, a damper and actuator, and 4 gas monitors, and 2 relays. So one to turn on the exhaust fan and the other to open the damper, which is through the actuator. So all gas monitors are wired daisy chain for up to 32 devices via CAN bus. And in this case, we can use 1-B model that has 2 relays to control both the fan and the damper. So here we decided to show 2-Bs because it requires shorter wire runs, which might end up being cheaper. And the remaining monitors are -C models that have CAN bus only. So what will happen here is when any monitor detects a gas, it'll send a message to the -B models to physically turn on the fan and open the damper. And that talking, as we call it, is all done through CAN bus, which is how these devices internally communicate. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into topology, which means, what are the different ways that these can be wired? So as we mentioned before, they're always wired daisy chain for up to 32 devices via CAN bus, and that they can be wired as a standalone system or integrated into a building management system, a BMS. The first topology is standalone no network. So this system is not tied into a BMS, nor does it use CAN bus. Here, every single gas monitor has a relay, which are wired in parallel to each other and to the fan, so that if any gas is detected, the fan will turn on. This topology works, however, it does not take advantage of the internal communication through CAN bus, so you won't be alerted if there is a fault in the network, and the price may be greater because all monitors here are required to have relays. The second topology is standalone with the CAN bus network. This allows all devices to talk to each other and to send messages when any device detects a gas or goes into alarm because of high or low temperature or from any fault on the network. Using CAN bus allows the use of -C models that, as we spoke about before, have CAN bus only, which talk to other monitors to turn on fans and open dampers. So these are more cost effective when relays and analog outputs are not needed. The third topology is a CAN bus network integrated into a building management system. This topology is the same as the previous. However, now the network is tied into a BMS that allows you to view and activate alarms and relays on all devices connected via CAN bus only and BACnet MSTP. The fourth topology is a CAN bus network integrated into a BMS, but where control for all external equipment is in a dedicated location rather than at the gas monitors. So this system operates the same as the 2 previous. However, when equipment needs to be serviced, it can be done from one location rather than needing to go to the individual gas monitors. So here we're showing a communication module, which is where all your control of fans, dampers, etc. Can be if this is what you're looking for. The fifth topology is a BACnet only network. Here all devices are physically connected to the BMS through BACnet MSTP. And the sixth topology does not use BACnet or CAN bus, but rather home runs the analog outputs from each gas monitor back to a central control panel. And this we see typically to retrofit existing gas monitoring systems that want to be replaced with a Belimo solution. Okay, so that concludes topology. If you have any questions about which is best for your application, please reach out to us and let us know. From there, we're going to move on to the gas monitor accessories. So, what accessories does Belimo offer in addition to the gas monitors? Well, we have communication modules and relay units that allow for direct control of external equipment from specific locations, for example, a mechanical room. So this is an image of the inside of a relay unit that has 4 single-pole double-throw relays that communicate via CAN bus. We have replacement sensor modules that are factory calibrated and hot swappable. So when you replace them, you don't need to disconnect the device from power. A high-low kit, that's essentially a remote enclosure that is used to monitor 2 gases on one device if the gases have different densities, which just means that they need to be mounted at different locations or elevations. And this slide here is showing everything that comes with the high-low kit. So when using it, simply remove the sensor module from the gas monitor, stick it in the high-low kit, install the high-low kit or remote enclosure or where desired, and then connect the 2 by the included data cable. We have an external horn alarm that's rated to 105 decibels. an external strobe alarm, a calibration kit for annually calibrating the gas monitors, a replacement calibration cap and tube. This is a calibration kit for the refrigerant gas monitor, security screws to protect the devices from being tampered with, transformers for power, a splash-proof enclosure for washdown applications, and lastly, a duct mount enclosure. Okay, so the next slides go over how to recognize the Belimo gas monitor part numbers. So as you probably know, 22 stands for active, which means 0 to 10 volts, 2 to 10 volts, 4 to 20 milliamps. G stands for gas. The XX here represents the gas code for the top sensor module. The YY represents the gas code for the bottom sensor module. 5 stands for the Americas region. And Z represents the model. So as we mentioned before, an A, a B, or a C. So let's look at an example here. 22G02145A is a typical gas monitor part number that Belimo sells. And as a customer, the way to tell what gases it is reading and what model it is by looking at the gas codes in the ending letter. So here 02 stands for CO, carbon monoxide. And 14 stands for NO2, or nitrogen dioxide. So here the gas monitor is reading carbon, so CO and NO2, carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide. And then the A denotes that it has 1 relay, 2 analog outputs, 1 binary input, CAN bus, and BACnet MSTP for communication. All right, so one more time, we'll go over the 3 different models. We have an A model that we just mentioned. We have a B model that has 2 relays, 1 binary input, CAN bus, and BACnet MSTP. And then we have a C model that has just CAN bus. All right, so lastly, let's do a quick recap and answer any questions you may have. So throughout this presentation, we wanted to show that Belimo's gas monitors are user-friendly and easy to set up and commission, that they can be integrated into a BMS or used as a standalone system, that they provide cost savings to the different models, the fact that they can monitor up to 2 different gases per device, the lack of needing a dedicated control panel, and the ability to daisy chain wiring. The sensor modules are easily recalibrated and replaced when their end of life is reached, and that they have a good design and rating for harsh residential and light commercial uses. Lastly, for more information, please contact Belimo, but please keep in mind that there are also resources on the Belimo website, such as the gas monitoring operating manual, technical data sheets, installation instructions, and the PGPL to help answer any application, technical, programming, installation, and maintenance questions about the products. All right, so that's it. Thank you. And hopefully we have some questions.
Thank you so much, Brett. Before we get started with our question and answer session, remember to follow Belimo on social media. We will now have our question and answer session, so please type any questions into the question box and I will read them out loud. If you should think of any questions after the session, you can email training@us.belimo.com. All right, so we have a few questions. First question I see, what common issues does Belimo see during installation?
All right, so after the gas monitors are installed, normally we'll get calls about, hey, the gas monitors aren't communicating properly. Things we'll notice are, hey, did you check your end of line jumpers on the first and last device on the CAN bus and BACnet network? Just to make sure it's important to make sure you have end of line devices on both CAN bus and BACnet, so that's something we see. Another thing is you have to make sure that all devices have their own unique CAN bus and BACnet addresses. that the polarity for both CAN bus and BACnet aren't reversed. So throughout the whole daisy chain, you keep the same polarity. And then lastly, that there aren't any loose wires somewhere. So to physically check to see if you have any shorts or loose wires.
Great.
Sorry. There are also ways using the gas monitors to check both CAN bus and BACnet. So through CAN bus, you can enable any device to see every single monitor on the CAN bus network. And then BACnet, there's a BACnet diagnostic tool. So both allow you to, check your networks. And then if there is a problem, if you see it on the network, you can isolate it and go to that physical device to see what the issue is.
Great, thank you. Okay, another question we have here. What resources are available to help install the devices?
Okay, so Belimo publishes a lot of documents on the website for gas monitors. Probably the two most important ones for people who are actually installing, operating, and maintaining the devices are the operating manual and the installation instructions. So if you Google any Belimo product, any gas monitor, you'll find both. The installations instructions is a short document to tell you how to properly install them, while the operating manual is a longer document that tells you basically everything you need to know about the products. So installation, programming, calibration, sensor replacement, wiring, etc.
All right, great. How easy is it to recalibrate and replace sensor modules?
All right, so if you have a gas monitor and you open up the cover, you'll see two sensor modules. And every year or more as specified, they need to be recalibrated to make sure they're reading properly and everything's good. Eventually, you'll get to a point where the sensor modules can't be recalibrated anymore and need to be replaced. So for recalibration, so what you need is you have your gas monitor that has the sensors in there. You'd have a calibration gas bottle to calibrate the 0 point. Typically, it's nitrogen. And then you'd have a calibration gas bottle to calibrate the span point, which is a bottle that's, if you have a CO and NO2 gas monitor, you'd have a nitrogen bottle to calibrate 0. You'd have a CO and a nitrogen dioxide bottle to calibrate the span points of each. So you'd flood the sensor with nitrogen, make sure the 0 point is good. Then you flood it with the target gas. So for example, CO, and you'd make sure it's reading what the calibration gas bottle says it is. And then after you do that, you do it to both sensors, and then your gas monitor is calibrated for the year. For replacing the sensor modules after they can't be recalibrated anymore, all you do is you open the cover, you take out the old one, stick in the new one. You just have to register it by going into the calibration menu and saving the 0 point, and then it should work no problem. Then you just close the cover and it's good to go.
Great, thank you. What are the benefits to using CAN bus?
So Belimo's gas monitors are pretty unique because CAN bus isn't used widely in the industry. Some benefits that you can use with CAN bus are that you can group them into different zones this way. So, if you have a bunch of gas monitors all connected on a daisy chain and you want them to go off per floor, you can zone the monitors any way you want. It also allows you to take advantage of the C model, which is just CAN bus. So depending on your system, how many things you're trying to control, with CAN bus, you can buy the relays and analog outputs that you need, and then have the rest as the -C models, which are cheaper, that will just talk. So like we mentioned before, if any gas monitor, including a C, detects a gas, it'll send a signal. It'll tell the monitor physically connected to the fan to turn on. So it allows you to save money, be more cost effective. You can see faults on the network through CAN bus. So if a monitor dies, goes offline, or the sensor needs to be replaced or recalibrated, and you'll see a fault in the CAN bus network. And then, like we just mentioned, they can transfer alarms to every device through CAN bus.
Great, thank you. How long do gas monitors or specifically sensor modules typically last?
So, okay, so the gas monitor themselves can last a long time. You know, when you open the gas monitor, that's where the sensor modules are, which is the thing that needs to be recalibrated and replaced eventually. But the physical product can be installed and used for a very long time. And then with the sensor modules, you have two things. You have annual calibration, and then eventually you'll have an end of life. So through Belimo, in our experience, we've seen certain sensors last a certain range. For example, CO, maybe normal lifespan of a CO sensor module is between 5 and 8 years. But all that information is in the operating manual.
Great.
And it's dependent on the sensor type and how dirty the application actually is. And you'll notice whenever you recalibrate every year, you can kind of get a sense of how much life is left on the sensor module.
All right. Great. Well, thank you. That is all we have time for today. Any questions that we did not get to, we will respond to each question by email. Once again, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. I'd also like to thank our presenter, Brett. If you'd like to watch this webinar again, it will be posted to our YouTube page as well as to our website. If you should have any further questions after the session is over, please email training@us.belimo.com. Thank you and have a great day.